Guys, so sorry about the fact that I am in the same clothing in every single one of these videos. So something to take mention of is I'm filming every one of these videos all in one day. Now you can see behind me, we have the Ram 5500 and the Ram 2500. This is 2004, that's a 2013. Both trucks that I used for the Hotshot and transport and everything. So I kind of want to talk to you today about how to make your truck last a lot longer than what it, you're running a lot of hard miles and everything, and you're putting a lot of wear and tear on these trucks. So a couple of things that I want to kind of go over, like weight and everything, and explain to you guys. I'm sure a lot of people know why these trucks wear out so quick. Obviously we're pulling so much weight, but it's just something I want to cover. I don't see anybody else, I haven't looked, so I mean I could be wrong, I really haven't seen anybody else covering this topic. So as for that, how to make your truck last a lot longer when you're doing Hotshot. Let's get into the video. All right guys, so I've come up with a short list of things to do to keep your truck alive. Just a couple of things to go over. I think I have like a list of 6 things. So if you guys know, I did Hotshot RV transport for the last, how long, and I got out of it probably like 4 or 5 months ago. I had a 315,000 mile truck, and then I ran the truck up until like 443,000 miles, something like that, and then pulled the motor out because it was shot. So I can kind of go over things, what I've learned, and mistakes that I have made when I decided to do this. So with that being said, here is my first thing. So maintenance is a big thing, and there's a couple things I'm going to mention about maintenance in this video. So the first things first is do your maintenance on time, your oil change, your air filter, differential fluids. I've gone through a differential, and I apologize about the wind noise in this video. I don't know how bad it's going to be, but it's definitely not the nicest. Right now it's kind of nice, but it's a little windy. But yeah, so I've gone through a rear differential when I was running a the single wheel setup. So went through a differential, so I replaced that. I went through 2 transfer cases, kind of sucks, and I went through a motor. Now I went through the motor because I ran bad injectors for the longest time. It took me a while to change my fluid in the rear diff, so there's that. Ended up going through that, and then the transfer case, I ran that empty for quite a while. I made a stupid mistake, jammed it in 4-wheel drive accidentally. I was sitting in a mud puddle. This has nothing to do with the maintenance part of it, but the transfer case, I kind of clicked it into 4-wheel drive while my back tires were spinning in mud in first gear. I didn't realize they were spinning, completely destroyed the 4-wheel drive side. So there's that. So the second thing on my list, we'll come back to the maintenance thing later. The second thing on my list is proper tires. Now, a lot of times I was running used tires. I probably went through like $700 in tires in a year. And the downside with that was me getting used tires is they were always popping and blowing out. So I was constantly destroying the bedside, destroying flares. I had my flares held on with ratchet straps. I was an idiot, I was cheap. Don't do that. I just would get $150 tires every now and again off of Craigslist. And then if I didn't have a tire with me, I'd go and get a used tire for $20, throw that on and keep going. So don't do that. That's a good way to completely just destroy, well, when you get a blowout, not to mention that's bad for everything else, but you're also destroying the bedside and the truck. So there's that. Third thing on my list is using quality parts. Now, where I come in with this is like suspension components, oil filters, stuff like that. Obviously you don't have to go super crazy and buy the most expensive thing. Suspension and engine parts you're gonna go through a lot faster and wear out a lot quicker. So just use quality parts, stuff you don't want to break. You don't want to be going down the highway and a suspension component snaps and then your wheels go like this or something. So there's that. Now, a big mistake that I did, seeing that this is just a 2500, is don't overload your truck constantly. I get it, these trucks, you can rate them for your 26,000 pounds for your non-CDL guys, and then run a 2500 at 35,000 pounds. I have somebody doing that. If you're watching this video, you know who you are. I love it. But yeah, don't overload your truck, especially if you're an owner operator and you're running the truck. That's what ultimately killed this truck in the end. I was running 20x12s before and then swapped over to the dually setup, and it just completely destroyed this truck. I was pulling 26,000 pounds constantly with this thing. Big campers, 48-foot goosenecks that were a box trailer. And not only does the weight suck, but then it's a sale, because I was doing RV transport. So let's just say it really wore out this truck. So I did have to put a lot of money into this thing to get it back up and going. And right now I'm happy with it, but it still needs a little bit of work. Another thing to mention is stay as completely stock as possible. There's nothing more that sucks is when you're out on the road and you can't find an aftermarket part because you decided to throw an aftermarket part in it, you can't find it, so now you're stuck at an AutoZone for like 3 days because you had to order a part that's aftermarket off of like Amazon or something. Case in point, fast fuel systems, aftermarket part. If you're gonna do that, you know, they can go bad. You know, you might need a filter or something. It's just one of those things, it's not really worth it. Aftermarket air filters you can't just go and get depending on the application. Yeah, just try to stay as stock as possible. Another thing to go look into is don't abuse your equipment just because you can do something or you can pull something. You don't need to be top shit. You don't need to be any of that. You know, you can be the guy going slow up a hill to take care of his equipment. You don't have to be the guy doing 80 miles an hour, 26,000 pounds up the mountain, and you know, that's gonna wear your equipment out earlier. And it just isn't worth it. You don't need to be king of the hill. So take that how you will. All right, well, that's pretty much going to do it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, like, share, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good one.